Hi guys, Matt Thornycroft here from Lead Without Position. And today I want to talk about procrastination. Hopefully this is a topic that many of us will be able to relate to. So I want to give you some advice around what it is and my top tips on how to deal with it. So firstly, what is procrastination? So procrastination is the action of delaying or postponing something. Generally, this means doing the things that we know we need to do, which we might find really boring, or we know will benefit us, but we just can't get ourselves to do it. Procrastination is something highly seen and joked about in students, and it's the art of leaving an essay until hours before the deadline. I mean, if I asked how many people left their dissertation to the last few days, I'm sure many of us would put our hands up, me included. But procrastination doesn't have to be a crippling illness. It could be something easily handled and managed. And this is because procrastination falls into two buckets. And this is what we'll talk about today. So the first and most common cause of procrastination is to do with reward, and alternatively known as gratification. Many of the most successful people today will talk about how they managed gratification. And we've got terms such as delayed gratification, which they attribute their success to. And this is simply the art of postponing a reward to get the things you need to do done first and then receive the benefit. It's about recognizing that a little bit of work now is only going to benefit you in the future. But this is really hard to see. If you can't see the benefit now, it feels massively underwhelming to do that activity. If you can't see tangible results, it makes you not want to do it. Whereas, if you were to go and play some computer games, they will give you instant results and you can track your progress. So why would I go and do some exercise when I can play a game and increase my ranking? I will not see the benefit of exercise for probably quite a few weeks, and I definitely won't see any weight loss for at least a month. And similarly, this applies to getting work done. If you have a massive essay to do, then getting that work done doesn't feel like a tangible result. You might feel that you have some words on paper, but you don't have a score or a grade or any kind of tracking of progress to know how you're getting on. So you spend an hour doing some research and writing a bit of your essay, and you have half a page done with a load of citations, and that doesn't feel anywhere near as rewarding as ranking up in your game, or knitting a scarf, or whatever it is that you like to do in your spare time. It seems that only when you get that result in possibly 6 weeks' time, and you think, oh, I got an A, yay, great. That's when the work felt rewarding, but you don't feel that when you're doing the actual writing. And this is where the term delayed gratification comes from. It's knowing that there is a reward in the future for your work now. So when you're at your laptop and you have work to do, it's very difficult to see how that work is going to be rewarding, and you would rather be doing anything else. So my first action point for you is thinking about that potential reward that's coming in the future and try to actively feel it now. So if you're thinking about a new exercise routine, think about how you're going to feel after exercise and seeing the results of the scale or body fat, whatever you're measuring, and think about achieving that goal and how that's going to make you feel now. And really take in that feeling. Think about the success and how proud you are of achieving that work. Whilst it's not close to the actual thing, it's generally enough to get you motivated to do that work now. And my second thing is to stop doing the things you enjoy for free. And what I mean by this is using it as a reward. So if, like me, because I'm a massive nerd, I like playing computer games, I am setting myself a challenge of doing this video or doing some work, and then when I've completed it, I'll be able to play some computer games. However, if you just wake up and go and play the games whenever you want, this is now not an incentive because it's just something that you will do at any time. And if you can do it at any time, why would you challenge yourself to get things done first when you know mentally, subconsciously, that you're probably just going to go and do it anyway. So start setting a precedent for things that you enjoy, that you need to get the things that you don't enjoy done first, then you're able to do them as a reward. So the second and other bucket of why we procrastinate is to do with the fear of failure. Now, the fear of failure is something which everyone feels because really it's drilled into you from a young age. You're generally told throughout the education system that you must get these grades in order to have a successful life and career. You're told that if you don't get a C in English, then no employer will take you. Or if you don't get the grades, you won't be able to go to university and get a good job. And these practices instill in young people a fear of not achieving the expected result. And this means that if they don't feel that they can actually achieve the target, even with some effort, then you might as well not bother doing it at all. If you know that you're not going to be able to achieve it, then it feels like wasted effort to try. And this is most commonly seen in essay writing, such as dissertations. You have no idea how this is actually going to turn out until you get your result. And this involves a huge amount of fear. You have no idea how much your effort that you've put in and all those hours spent on it were actually worth doing. So when you look at this huge amount of work to do and you don't know how it's going to turn out, it's probably easier to just not try at all. And then when you don't try and the deadline looms around, you then remove this fear of failure out of panic, get as much done as you can and submit it, and then really you have something to blame. You're able to say, well, I didn't get the grade I wanted because I left it to the last minute, or, oh, I always do this, or even worse, oh, well, they gave me a difficult question, or they assigned me a difficult topic. The reality is that fear has stopped you achieving the result that you want. And then it's easier to blame everything else and not your decision. No one wants to admit that they're scared, especially when hundreds of people are in the same boat as you and are still getting things done. When you look at your fellow colleagues who seem to be working really hard and you haven't done anything, it can be hugely daunting. And all of this combined means that you see some work that you need to do, decide that it's too difficult or too hard to achieve, and that fear causes you to just not do anything. So, how do we stop this from happening? First is to recognize that it is going to happen. You have to see that every piece of work, every deadline, everything that you need to achieve will have an element of failure to it. And you have to give yourself permission to fail. No one is perfect and you will fail along the way. And to believe that you won't fail and you'll get it perfect first time is just completely unrealistic. And we can use this channel as an example. There is a huge amount of fear that all of my time spent on these videos will be completely for nothing. I might get absolutely nowhere, and it can feel like a wasted effort, and I might as well have done anything else. I know that I'm going to produce videos that aren't going to get any views, and I know that some of the videos, I mean, look at the first one, it's just terrible. But that is part of the learning curve. And for me, it all comes down to the mission. And I truly believe that leadership and empathy are missing skills. And I want to be able to spread that message and help people improve. So I have given myself permission to fail. I focus on why I am doing it. And my belief is that if I help just one person to improve their leadership and empathy skills, then I've achieved my why. And then it all just becomes about scale. And this applies to any work that you need to do. It's about giving yourself permission that you could fail that work. But that's okay because it's a learning curve. And chances are so many people before you also got it wrong. In fact, the person that gave the work to you probably also got it wrong. And ultimately, there isn't really anything that's ultimately right or wrong. It all comes down to perspective. There are things that are not as good as others, but that doesn't make it right and wrong, unless your piece of work has just cost your company thousands of pounds. That I'd probably say was pretty wrong. But hey, it's a learning curve. And my next tip for dealing with the fear of failure is about just getting started. The biggest thing with the fear of failure is the blank page paralysis. And this is where you want to start a piece of work or want to start your essay, you fire up Microsoft Word or whatever Macs use, and then you stare at this blank page and have no idea what to do. Or you know exactly what you need to do, you just don't know how to write it. And you say to yourself, I need to get this right, I need to get it done, or I can't afford to get this wrong. So you first give yourself permission to fail, and then you just start. And when I say just start, I mean literally write anything. By simply starting to type, you remove the fear of failure and you kickstart your brain to start really thinking about what you need to do. Then your logical brain takes over, gets into the flow of what you're writing, and you can always go back and change that introduction. To give an example, when I started writing my dissertation, I actually started it as, I hate doing this, why am I writing this? This is a complete waste of time. These were the fears that I were facing, that my dissertation would be a waste of time. And I simply just put them on paper to get me starting to type. And then when I got over that, realized that I was being a complete muppet, and then got into the flow of writing the dissertation, I was able to get loads done. So when you're next at work and you have your laptop open and you're staring at a blank piece of work to do, just start writing. So these are my top tips on how to deal with procrastination. I hope you found them useful. Let me know in the comments below and hit that like and subscribe.